Hey, what's up everybody? It's Austin, and today, and as you can tell by the title of this video, we actually have a good code reader. So, let's go ahead and take a look at it.
Ooh, look, rock.
So, before we jump into the meat of the Ediag YA201, I wanted to tell you about what I was using before. And this is your generic 2-button, really cheapo, something you can get from AutoZone, O'Reilly's. This one I purchased from AutoZone for, I believe it was like 25 bucks a couple of years ago. But this thing, honestly has nothing on the Ediag YA201. And the first thing I would like to show, and this is the important one for me, is the length of the cable. I mean, look at that. This thing is like an extra foot longer than the cable on this scan tool, which is amazing. For those of you who like to sit in the driver's seat of your car and like to go over your code reader, well, this is the one for you. You don't have to have this like right down on your knee, and this you can have in your lap or even on the dashboard, depending on how far away your OBD2 reader is from the OBD2 port. So let's get this out of the way. So this is the Ediag YA201. It's an OBD2 code reader. And yeah, I actually have really been enjoying it. I've been testing it out before I made this video for y'all, and this thing is amazing. So this bad boy right here can give you a lot of information. This can give you your trouble codes. It can also give you live data. Now, they do have a graph function and they do have a table function. And you can also look up your battery voltage test. So you can do a test on your battery voltage and that whole charging system. And that is amazing. That's awesome. That's really cool. I don't know of many code readers that are able to do battery voltage, are able to do all of that actually. And the cool thing about this is, especially at the time of recording, this is $22.99 on Amazon. That's crazy. For a code reader that cheap, I can already tell you there's a lot of power behind this little unit. And I'd recommend one. I don't even need to show you the rest of the video. I'd already recommend it. We're going to go over a couple of those features in the car. We're actually going to be testing it on a 2001 Ranger and a very, very dirty Hyundai Sonata. Now, you're going to get a lot more information, a lot more data out of your newer cars because there's usually more sensors and gauges and stuff like that. But there's more sensors in the newer cars. So, we will be testing it on the Ranger first, and then we'll switch over to the Sonata. Now, one thing I would recommend is when you get the box, you get a sleeve that covers it, a screen protector that goes over that just for shipping. And then you get this quick reference guide. And I would definitely recommend holding on to this because it does have your abbreviations for anything on the live table or the live graph or whichever one you pick or decide to use. But we'll also go over a couple of the other features in the vehicles while we're in the vehicles so that I can show you the really cool and awesome benefits of the YA201 by Ediag. Go ahead and grab our quick reference guide and our Ediag YA201. Now let's go ahead and jump in this Ranger. So another benefit of this code reader is the ability for it to boot up super, super fast. And let's go ahead and plug it in. And there it is. It's already booted up. We're already at our ability to diagnose, look up, and our battery test. Now, let's go ahead and check our battery test with the vehicle off. And when you click OK, it has a live data feed that you can go ahead and look at. Now, we're going to go ahead and start up the truck as well, and you should see a dip and a boost after the alternator kicks on. There's the dip, and there's the charge. All right, that's perfect. That means that everything is working like it should. Looks like we are producing max of 14.3, and there was a minimum of 10.7 when the starter kicked on. But that's great. That is great. It's awesome to have that live data as well. So talking about live data, let's go over here to diagnosis. So I'll go ahead and hit the back button real quick. We're going to go ahead and read the codes real quick, see if there's any stored or pending. I'm hoping that there's not, because this truck has been rebuilt. If you've been following the channel, then you'll understand. Alrighty, so we have no codes there either. So you can go ahead and erase codes usually, but obviously we don't have any codes, so we don't need to erase it on this vehicle. But there is live data, or data, depending on how you want to say it. And you can do all data streams, and you can graph individual data streams as well. So let's go ahead and let's double check the data streams. And we have ECTs, and that is engine coolant temps, by the way. That's why it's great to have this this quick reference guide over here, because if you didn't know what ECT was, which in the beginning I didn't either, let's go ahead and find the E's, engine coolant temp, right there, ECT number 33, engine coolant temperature. So don't lose that. The thing's great to have. So there's not a ton of data on the Ranger, just because it doesn't have a lot of sensors on it. But we can see spark advance, intake air temp. It is a very hot day today. We have our mass airflow, throttle positions at 20. I'm going to go ahead and give the truck a little blip. You can see it moving just a little bit. Let's go ahead and let's do a graph display. So let's go ahead and see what our RPM is. We can have a live data graph of our RPM on the Ranger. So it says we're sitting at about 910s to 930s. And as you can see on the gauges, that's pretty accurate as well. So if we give it a little bit of a blip, we can see the graph moving, and that is awesome. That's super cool to have. So if you are having issues with certain different functions and features in your vehicle that are dependent on the engine, at least in this Ranger, we can only look at the ECU or PCU. But, I mean, you can see your RPMs, max, min, and I love the live data. It's great. Another amazing thing this little reader can do is your I-M readiness. Now, to me, this is like what you would use to see if you would pass a state inspection, or, you know, your yearly inspection for your vehicle tags. So you can hit OK here. You'll give it a second. And if you have all check marks and everything looks good, no DTCs, no pending DTCs, then you should be able to pass your state inspection. So that is great. That is awesome. Again, this little code reader right here is amazing for what it can do. Now, when we hop over into the Sonata, the really dirty Sonata, we will go ahead and we will see even more power that this Ediag YA201 has. So let's go ahead and turn off the Ranger, and let's go ahead and jump into the Sonata over there, and we'll go ahead and test out a issue that the Sonata's been having. So I do have an issue going on with the Sonata, and we're going to use this code reader to figure it out. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, it does have a really long cable, and as you can see, I mean, that's lower down on the dashboard, and I can stand out here. So let's go ahead and jump in the car. And the cool thing about this is, because the cable's long enough, I can hook this code reader right around where my phone would be at, and it makes it really easy to use. Just like that. Look at that. That's amazing. So with the code reader in a nice and easy to read place, let's go ahead and chuck the key in. And let's go ahead and start up the car. Alrighty, perfect. So let's go back over to the diagnosis, because I know that there is something wrong with this car. Let's go ahead and hit diagnose. We're going to do the ECM PCM. We're going to go ahead and read some codes. We're going to go ahead and look at our pending codes. I don't believe there should be any stored or permanent, but let's go ahead and look at our permanent codes real quick. So as you can see already, it gave us 2. It was super quick. That was live for you guys. I promise I didn't do any editing. We got a manifold absolute pressure circuit low, and it says intake air temperature sensor circuit is high. So that to me means that we might have a mass airflow or some kind of sensor issue up there. But let's go ahead and bring this over here into the shade a little bit. Let's go ahead and look at our live data. So the live data will give us a little bit more information. Now with the Hyundai Sonata, there is a couple of pages of information. I'm going to go ahead and scroll through a little bit of it. A whole bunch of information. We've got our RPMs, we have throttle position, we got a whole bunch of stuff. We got some evap stuff, warm-ups, we got, man, just a whole bunch of information that you can pull off of this. Now, some of this, I'll be honest, I'm not too knowledgeable about. But now that I have this code reader, I can definitely start looking into it and learning about my car. So as you can see, the intake air temp and IMAP both are having weird readings. One's -40 constant and one is at 0 psi. So to me, that means that we have either a bad sensor, unplugged sensor, or some other issue. But before we go over to that, let's go ahead and check our readiness. It says we have an issue with the evap, so there might be an issue there. And then there's mode 6. Now, I don't know too much about mode 6, but I've heard that it is an amazing tool for those who do the shade tree mechanic. Now, I'm not in the shade, so I don't know if I classify as a shade tree mechanic, but I'll have to look into this mode 6, because if it is what it is, it'll be extremely helpful for me. So as we do have these 2 codes, let's go ahead and turn the vehicle off, see if we can find the issue, and then fix it up, clear the codes, and see if this car will pass a test. And as you can tell, the problem is right down here. We do have an unplugged sensor. So I'm going to go ahead and reach down in here. It's a little hot because the car has warmed up. Plug that in just like that. Now we'll still have codes. And that's okay. We do need to clear those codes, and with this tool you can do that. So let's go ahead and clear the codes. So let's go ahead and double check those codes real quick. We'll go ahead and do the pending ones again. Still have both of those. Let's see if there's any stored ones yet. Nope, no stored codes. So now that we've fixed our issue, let's go ahead and erase some of these codes. It says it will clear all the emissions related diagnostic information, turn off key, or have the engine off and in the key on position. So with the engine off and the key in the on position, we'll go ahead and hit OK. It says the DCTs have been cleared. So we'll hit back, we'll go up here to read codes, and we'll go ahead into pending codes, and there's nothing. So my final thoughts on the Ediag YA201 is I would recommend it. Now, again, I am no hardcore mechanic by any means whatsoever. I'm more of like a shade tree or not so shady place at all mechanic, but this reader is amazing. It's got so much information that you can grab from it. I am not complaining. 2 really good pros about this code reader is the cable. It is long, it is flexible. Now, for some of you that might not be super important, but for me, because most of the OBD2 readers are in the footwell of the driver's side part of the vehicle, it's a little hard to get it somewhere where you can see it while being able to drive safely. So instead of looking down in your lap every 2 seconds to see what kind of information you're getting, you can have this up near your gauge cluster, you can have this up near your phone holder. But I would definitely recommend it. Again, for $30, you can't really beat it for what you're getting. I believe there is lifetime updates as well. It does have this port down here that allows you to go ahead and do those updates. And on their website, they do have a manual as well. So if you do lose your quick reference guide, I'm sure you can look it up on their website as well. And speaking about websites and how to get this, I do have a link down in the description for Ediag's website as well as their Amazon page. You can find these on Amazon. Through Ediag, by the way, for, I believe it was like $23, $22.99, if not just a little bit more at the time of this video. And you can find this on their website for less than $30. That is crazy, especially for a diagnostic tool that's got that much power. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video off right here. I appreciate you all watching and seeing what this little code reader has to offer. It's a big package. It's a small little big package. Yeah. I would like to say huge thanks to Ediag for sending this out to me and letting me test it out. I am super excited to use this in the future, as I've already been using it. I've really been enjoying it. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I hope you all have a great day.